Now, be honest with me. Do you feel like you can't start the day without coffee? Do you feel that you're not yourself until you've had your morning cup? Why does a first sip feel like magic, but a few hours later, you start to crash? When you get your energy boost from coffee, does it really give you energy? The truth is, coffee doesn't carry the energy you feel. It borrows it from your own future self. Let's see how caffeine works inside your body and what that really means for the energy you need each day. Okay, here's the first thing to understand. A cup of an Americano or black coffee has fewer than 5 calories, which is almost nothing. So it isn't actually giving you usable energy the way food does. The reason it feels like energy is because of something happening inside your brain. As you go through your day, a chemical called adenosine slowly builds up. Think of it like sand filling an hourglass. The more it builds, the heavier you feel, until eventually it tells your body it's time to rest. Now, here's how caffeine pulls its trick. The caffeine molecule looks so much like adenosine that it slips into its place. Imagine caffeine sneaking into a reserved seat at the movies. The real guest, adenosine, is left waiting outside. Because the seat is blocked, your brain never gets the time to feel tired signal. You feel sharper, more awake, and ready to go. But notice what's really happening here. The adenosine hasn't disappeared. It's still there, piling up in the background. So the energy you feel from coffee isn't coming from the drink itself. It's coming from silencing your body's natural tiredness. Basically, you don't have more energy. You just don't feel tired yet. Blocking adenosine is only the beginning. Once caffeine is in your system, your brain reacts in other ways too. Dopamine, the same chemical linked with reward and motivation, gets a lift. That's one reason coffee doesn't just wake you up, but also makes things more enjoyable. At the same time, stress response hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline are triggered. Scientists point out that this is why caffeine can sharpen reaction times and focus, as it's akin to the body preparing for action. Even cortisol, the hormone that normally rises in the morning to wake you up, gets a boost. This extra push is part of the reason caffeine feels like it switches your brain into high gear. The effect is strong enough that multiple studies show a performance edge. For example, one large review found athletes who consumed caffeine ran farther, faster, and with greater endurance than those who didn't. Another trial reported better oxygen use and higher heart rates during exercise with caffeine in the system. So when you feel coffee turning the lights on in your brain, it's not a placebo. The chemistry is real and the science has measured it. I know what you're probably thinking right now. Hey, everything you've said so far has only made coffee sound incredible. It blocks that lazy, drowsy molecule while giving us crazy focus and making us stronger. Isn't this a complete win-win situation? I know because I think the same way, and you're right. So far, it may sound that way, but there's a catch. None of this energy is free. It's borrowed, and eventually the body comes to collect. Do you remember the first law of thermodynamics? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. So, while caffeine blocks adenosine, remember that this tiredness molecule is still building up in the background. Then, when the caffeine wears off, all of that adenosine rushes back at once. That's when the crash hits, you get a sudden heaviness and a wave of fatigue that feels even stronger than before. Over time, the brain also adapts. It creates more adenosine receptors, almost like it's trying to outsmart the caffeine. That means the same cup that used to do the trick just doesn't hit as hard anymore. Suddenly, one cup turns into 2, maybe even 3, just to feel normal. And when you skip coffee altogether, those extra receptors make you extra sensitive to adenosine. That's when the headaches kick in, you get irritated, and the fog rolls in. Experts describe this as withdrawal. And anyone who's tried quitting coffee cold turkey, myself included, knows exactly how this feels. So yes, coffee gives you a lift, but the more often you lean on it, the more your body pays the price. That's the costly side of the energy loan. With coffee, the cost isn't just the crash. The cost is what happens when your body is pushed into overdrive again and again. Studies show that even at rest, caffeine can raise the levels of stress hormones. In small amounts, it's not a big deal. But if you rely on coffee day after day, your system runs into a state of constant alert. That strain is sometimes called adrenal fatigue, which indicates your body is working harder than it should just to keep going. Then there's sleep. Caffeine can linger in your system for hours. An afternoon cup might not stop you from falling asleep, but it can reduce the quality of your sleep. Less deep sleep means less repair for your muscles, slower recovery, weaker immunity, and lower energy the next day. This also explains why some people, especially those sensitive to caffeine, feel drained even though they drink more of it. The energy keeps being directed to staying alert in the moment instead of repairing and recharging for the long term. So, while coffee may feel like a quick fix, too much of it can disrupt the very systems that should be keeping your energy stable. If coffee is an energy loan, the smart move is not to overborrow. A little can help, but too much will make you energetically bankrupt. One of the biggest tips experts give is about timing. So when should you drink your coffee? When you wake up, your body naturally releases cortisol, a hormone that makes you feel alert. If you drink coffee right away, you're stacking caffeine on top of what your body is already doing. That's why the sweet spot is usually between 9 and 11:30 in the morning, when cortisol starts to dip. That's when caffeine will give you a smoother boost without competing with your natural rhythm. But of course, everyone has different schedules. So a good guideline is for an hour or two after waking. Another habit that makes a difference is cutting it off early. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours, meaning it takes about that long for your body to eliminate half of the consumed caffeine. Having it late in the afternoon may cause problems falling asleep later on and affect the quality of your rest. Poor sleep means more grogginess the next morning, which will make you reach for even more coffee, creating a negative feedback loop. So experts suggest finishing your last cup by 2 or 3 p.m. And then there's a question of how much. The dietary guidelines for Americans set a safe upper limit at about 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's roughly 3 to 4 regular cups of coffee, though the exact amount varies with the bean, the brew, and the brand. For context, a single espresso shot might carry around 60 to 160 milligrams, a can of cola about 40, and some energy drinks over 300. It can add up quickly. The point isn't to quit coffee, but to use it with awareness. If you treat it like a helpful tool and not a daily lifeline, you will be able to get the benefits without feeling weighed down by the debt. A helpful guideline may be to consume it every other day, if you can. The good news is this: your body already has systems that create real, lasting energy. Caffeine borrows power. These practices are going to help build it. Start with sunlight. Morning light helps set your body clock. When you get outside soon after waking, it nudges cortisol and other wake signals into the right pattern. That means less groggy mornings and a more steady energy curve throughout the day. Movement matters. Exercise changes the cells themselves. Reviews show that consistent endurance training increases the number of mitochondria in muscle, roughly around 20 to 27%, depending on intensity. More mitochondria means the muscles make more energy more efficiently. Naps work too. A 10-minute nap is often enough to clear mental fog and raise alertness. It's not being lazy, let's call it strategic recovery. If caffeine is a quick loan, A brief nap is an honest deposit. Nutrition is basic but powerful. Balanced meals, steady protein, and regular hydration all help the body produce steady energy, not spikes and crashes. Even simple choices matter. A controlled study from the University of Mississippi showed that just 10 minutes of brisk walking or a short meditation was enough to cut fatigue and reduce the heavy feeling of lethargy. In other words, small daily practices can make a real difference, sometimes in as little as 10 minutes. Finally, remember to sleep. Deep sleep is where repair happens. When you protect sleep, everything else gets easier. Coffee can help in the short term, but sleep builds the foundation. If the goal is energy you can count on, invest in the basics: light, movement, sleep, and food. These will give you energy you can actually use tomorrow. So, should you say goodbye to coffee? Well, not quite. I can tell you that for me, coffee has always been a loyal companion, warming my mornings, pulling me through long nights, and helping me survive office meetings. Saying goodbye would be too harsh, but maybe for you, this is a goodbye to the way you've been using it. Goodbye to depending on it as your lifeline. Goodbye to pretending it creates energy out of nothing. From here on, let coffee be something to savor. Don't let it determine your source of energy. So, no, it isn't goodbye. I hope you have a new kind of relationship to caffeine. One where the energy you need comes from within, and coffee is just along for the ride. So, what do you think? How many cups of coffee do you have every day? And are you willing to give it up? Let me know in the comments. And make sure to like and subscribe to see more content like this one.